Welcome back to DajibanLife, and as you can see, I'm going to be replacing my rear brake pads on the back of the van. I've been hearing some squeaking coming from the passenger side, so this side actually looks okay. The pad, at least on the outer pad, looks pretty healthy. I don't know about the inner one. I kind of squeezed in there, and it looked kind of thin, but you know, this side's not making any noise. But I thought it'd be safer to just switch the pads out now before the rotors get grounded in too much. I mean, there's some score marks here already, but it's not too bad. Nothing that's, you know, out of the ordinary for this age of a car, and it's not really worth switching out the rotors for this. I think it'll be fine. So yeah, once again, as you can see here in true Dodge fashion, they put the caliper bolt right there, and so the spring is in the way to get a bigger wrench in there. But then I'm also restricted by this bolt because my wrench hits up against that bolt right there. So the range of motion, especially trying to break it inside of this little area right here where I'm hitting up against the fenders. Oh yeah, and then, you know, you guys didn't see it, I didn't show you, but I did spray some rubber undercoating up in here in the wheel wells just to kind of deaden the sound a little bit of the road noise. But as you can see, it's not sticking very well. I mean, I prepped it plenty, I sanded it down and everything, but I guess that stuff just doesn't stick very well. Alright, so I got the top bolt off, and the caliper sort of swung out, which is good. I'll probably get like a box or something to set this on. That's not a lot of slack here to really move this caliper around a whole lot. So yeah, that's this might be a problem getting back on too, because the clearance here in the back to get the wrench in because of the spring, it's not very much. So, and then tightening this is also going to be an issue. It doesn't make sense to remove the entire spring just to do a brake job. So as you can see, you know, they could have moved, you know, something inboard a little bit, or I don't know, man. They could have designed this differently so it wouldn't be such a pain in the ass. But yeah, like I said, true Dodge fashion, make things as hard as possible for people servicing. No wonder these things aren't on the road anymore as much. But yeah, the drum brakes would have been much easier to service. But I like the discs, so we'll go ahead and do that. And yeah, once I get the caliper off, I'll continue this. Alright, so I got the caliper off. Got it sitting on this box, so I'm not putting too much strain on the line here, the brake line. These brakes look different from the front. They don't have that crazy, like, what do you call it, like claw system thing, two-stage whatever, where you had, it was a freaking puzzle, a Jenga puzzle to figure out, to get the pads out. These look like normal, just snap-in kinds. Alright, so I was wrong. It is the two-stage type of caliper. I don't know why they did that. It just makes things way more complicated than they need to be. I like the, you know, the good old just pop them in, pop them out type of thing. You don't have to disassemble anything. But apparently this type, it is this two-stage caliper system. So I'm gonna have to slide these brake pads off now, this way, as you can see. And then, you know, clean it up a little bit, install the new ones, and then grease the bolts in here. Of course, the grease is all dried up, as you can see on the bolts. Nice and clean, no grease. So I'm gonna grease them back up and put it back together, put it back on the car, and be done with this side, and then do the other. Alright, so I got the new pads installed into the whatever, the receiver end of the caliper, I guess you could call it. I also kind of scraped it off down to the bare metal, some of the brake dust, get that brake dust off of there. So that's pretty much ready. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this, and as far as the piston, I think I do have my ball joint press kit with me, so I might try to use that to maybe press the piston back in a little bit, so that when I pump up the brakes, that it'll have, you know, like there'll be room for the new pads. Alright, so I got the ball joint press on there. But of course, in true Dodge fashion, they put the brake line right on the like the line comes out right behind the cylinder, so I can't really, even if I had a, I guess if I had a C-clamp, then I could fit, because C-clamps are smaller, so I could fit that in the back there. But yeah, I can't, so I'm having to do this at an angle. I think I'm pretty sure I can get enough, the piston to retract enough that I can get the new pads in. But again, you know, bad design. Like, why would you have the brake line come out this way? You know, because then I can't get a clamping force to retract the piston. You should have made it go out the other way. What's the difference, you know? It's just about turning the thing 180 degrees just to make servicing it easier. But I guess once the caliper's on there, I guess that's a better position for it. I don't think it would have made much difference to just spin it around 180 degrees, but, you know, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down and retract the piston a little bit. I think I can kind of do it by hand. Oh yeah, that's working. Alright, new brake pads are in. Caliper's back on as it should be. I didn't really get it super clean. I guess I should try cleaning it while it's on the actual hub, because it's a lot easier. But whatever, you know, it's not a show car. I guess I could paint them at some point, maybe, the calipers. You wouldn't be able to see them anyway because my wheels are solid. They don't have any holes for spokes or anything. So yeah, not really going to be seen, so it doesn't really matter. But I do like, you know, keeping things as clean as possible, just so the next time I work on it, it's, you know, a lot cleaner. There's not as much grease and dust and crap all over. Get my hands freaking black like this. I mean, they will be anyway, but at least it looks nice. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. Alright, she's all buttoned up with the cover back on, so now it looks nice and pretty with the neurochrome lug nuts, which match my muffler, which is crazy dirty. I need to clean it so it's nice and shiny like those lug nuts are. But maybe if I just wait, the lug nuts will become just as dirty as the muffler and I won't have to do anything. Alright, car's on. Go ahead and pump the brakes a few times. Just doing this by hand. I mean, that should be plenty. It feels pretty stiff or firm or whatever. I mean, firmer than before maybe? I don't know. Alright, well, that's pretty much, I think that's it. I'm going to test drive it. I'm not going to do that on camera, just because there's no point. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm pretty sure, 99.9% sure that it'll work. So, while I'm here though, as you can see, this is the drop in the front. So, right now, let's see, I'll measure it. Now that I've driven a couple hundred miles, I would say maybe I've driven about 200 miles. And let's see where the ride height's at. It's just sitting around 2 7/8, I would say, from the top of the tread. We'll call it 3 inches, but it's a little bit under 3 inches. The thing is, on the freeway though, I did hit some bumps, and I do think I hit this, what do you call it, bolt on the tire. And you can see the tire is kind of eating away right here, like around. So I think I might have to pull the fender a little bit just so that this bolt doesn't hit up against that, against the tire. But just about a little less than 3 inches of clearance. And this is with only the front lowered. I haven't lowered the rear yet. In the rear, I'm looking really only for like 2 to 3 inches of a drop. So if I do a flip kit, that's like a 5-inch drop. So I'm gonna have to raise it up 2 more inches, which I have some ways of doing it. I honestly don't think I really need to lower it. When I look at it, it kind of looks okay. There is a bit of a rake, as you can tell here. Let me see if I can get the camera to be like even. So you can see there's a little bit of a rake in the van, but it's not too bad. I guess I could just measure it. Yeah, why don't I just do that? So from the ground to, let's say, the body here where I can see it is about, I'm gonna call that 15 inches just for simplicity's sake. And then here in the back, so that was at the front fender, and at the back it's 17 inches, looks like. So the back is about 2 inches higher than the front, as far as the body goes. So yeah, a 2-inch drop would be perfect in the rear. I don't know if I can achieve that, because the last time I dropped the van, my tire was pretty much at the fender, and the fender gap right now looks like, let me decrease my ruler here. The fender gap looks like about 4 inches, and on my old van the fender was pretty much at the tire, so there was no gap at all. So that basically means that I was dropped. Oh, actually, I guess the fender gap is more like 3 inches if I look at it like this. So I'm looking for a 2-inch drop, so I have 1 inch of fender gap in the rear. And on my last van, I had no fender gap in the rear, so I need to raise it up an inch from my old setup, which I have a plan for, and hopefully it'll happen. Look forward to it. But honestly, I wouldn't mind just leaving it like this. It's really not that bad. A 2-inch rake is really not that bad, and it looks fine, especially with the bigger tire. Once I put the bigger tires on, the rear, the gap will be filled by the tire a little bit, by an inch. And so really there'll only be a 2-inch gap instead of the 3-inch gap you see right now. But I did buy all the parts already. I have the flip kit. I bought a different one from last time. I don't know if it'll fit. Hopefully it does. But I'm gonna maybe try to modify that. And if not, I can always just revert to the old kit that I sort of welded onto my old van. But I'll, see if I can knock that off and then transfer it over here if the new flip kit doesn't work. But yeah, that's pretty much the rear brakes. The front brakes are pretty similar. Just do the same thing. Just take the caliper off, undo the caliper bolts. They come out, you slide the little finger off. You've seen me do it before. So same process, and didn't take very long. The sun hasn't quite set yet, so I would say that was about an hour's job. Maybe it took about an hour and a half for me here because I stopped to film and stuff, and I did other things. But yeah, hour's worth of work. Pretty easy. Save some money instead of going to the mechanic where they could possibly break something and cause bigger problems. If you do it yourself, you know you did it right, and there shouldn't be any problems. Yeah, that's it for today, and thanks for watching.